The most devastating moments on paternity court.
You are not the father.
What? Cribs and playpens and toys, and I've done everything that I do.
If it don't come out the way it should, he not being my father. This man don't even know nothing about me. Who's to say he want me to, want to get to know me?
The father's standing right there.
No, he may not be our father. So what if he's not our father? Then where do we go from there?
A mother's deathbed confession led the plaintiff to come to the paternity court. And this was her last hope of finally figuring out the puzzle of where she belonged. Cue the mic drop. Miss Fuller wanted answers. Let's give her some.
Why you say today is one of the most important days of your entire life?
At the age of 10, my mother and father that I've known to be my father had a fight, and on his way out, he told me, and by the way, I'm not your father. And my birth certificate, it has him as my birth certificate, has my father that I've always known, but I know he's not.
So, Miss Fuller's dad, who raised her, hit her with the "I'm not your father" line when she was just 10. Mom later confirmed it when she was 13, but added a rock star twist. Oh yeah, meet Mr. Cornelius, the saxophone-playing, heartbreak-inducing mystery man.
I just like some answers. I've got a lot of mixed emotions. I've never needed a father. I've always tried to carry on my life without knowing where I come from. I've been pretty displaced.
Now the plaintiff's life turned upside down when Mommy dropped the name of a possible father. With just a name, she began digging. And what she found? Well, let's just say it was as surprising as it was shocking. She came across a song dedicated to her mother from Mystery Man. Whoa.
And this is the song your alleged father wrote about your mother?
Yes.
Enter Mr. Neal, the maybe dad. Now, this was the first time these guys were seeing each other. He proceeded to tell her how he met Miss Lorraine, and it was way back in the 60s. Well, it was a jazzy affair during a time when dating was hard enough, but when it was interracial, oh, that was a whole other challenge back then. Though this ended in a tragic love ballad.
Do you remember her mother, Lorraine?
Yes, I was singing in a band at the time. That's where I met her at, in the nightclub. We started dating.
Yes.
When she came down to the club, I would take her home. She lived in the other part of town.
All right.
I stayed in the ghetto.
Moving on, the daughter pulled out a timeline next, concocted by the non-dad. To dodge child support and relinquish the rights, the man created a list of possible fathers. Now, ain't that a thorough but devastating approach? I bet the daughter did not like that much.
She got married and left town. I didn't know where she had went to, but I found out that she was in San Bernardino. So me and my brother drove to San Bernardino to the place I thought she was at, and I knocked on the door, and she came to the door.
She did?
Yeah.
It appears the defendant knew about the marriage, and also the guy she was married to. What he didn't know, though, was where she lived. But after pulling some strings, he found that out too. So he packed his bags and went to meet the love of his life.
Is that a respectful way of saying you all engaged in an intimate encounter?
Yes.
We'll say it that way?
Yes, we made love.
After that night, did you ever hear from her again or see her again?
Well, we had to visit, and I was there for a while. And after I left, I never heard from her again.
So, after spilling the beans on that soulful night, there was no contact after that either. And so, he did not know that it was very possible he could have a daughter out there as well. Now, that's just sad, isn't it?
So when you got this message on Facebook from Miss Fuller, you were shocked?
Yes.
Because you had no idea.
I had no idea. I looked at the Facebook, and I looked at a picture, and I said, it could be mine. It could,
And so, you two have spoken.
Yeah.
Mr. Cornelius' wife stepped up next in support of him and her daughter. Yup, she fully accepted Miss Fuller as their daughter, and it was clear she desperately wanted the plaintiff to be her husband's child.
I already got attached to Miss Fuller already.
You have?
I would like it to turn out for them.
Yes, you would like...
Father and daughter.
Yes.
Because on my family side, I don't have very many relatives left. I only had one brother.
It had been a long journey for the plaintiff to get here to this point. Her whole life had been devoid of a father figure, and we knew how shattering a fatherless life is. Well, let's hear it from Miss Fuller's perspective as to what motivated her to this point.
I didn't know where I fit in. I just knew I was a good girl. I wanted to just please my mom, to please everybody around me. Never questioned anything. I never thought of trying to open up doors that were never there for me to open. I never wanted to be in a place of a lonely state.
Well, the road was long and hard, but the DNA results were in. Now, this truth was either going to unite this family, or Miss Fuller was going to continue with this journey with that list. Brace yourselves, folks. Here goes nothing.
Mr. Neal, you are not Miss Fuller's father. I'm sorry, Miss Fuller.
It's okay. I still love you.
So sorry.
You are like a father to me. You are.
Not just one, but 2 kids' parentage was under paternity inspection here. Yep, Mr. Benning had a tale of cheated on dreams. The defendant, on the other hand, claimed to be pretty positive. Let's get to the bottom of this mystery, shall we?
First off, Your Honor, my mother passed away when I was 14 years old. She was my best friend. We spent every waking moment together. After she died, it, left me hurt. I always wanted a daughter, and I promised I was going to take care of her and treat her like my mother took care of me.
That's
so
wonderful.
I've always stuck by with that.
So having a daughter has been so important to you.
So Mr. Benning had always dreamt of a daughter. However, when Miss Bodine entered his life, needless to say, she shook up his world. She cheated, and the poor guy was left doubting his kid's paternity. And, oh, did I mention the drama that unfolded right in the delivery room? Texts, tears, and goldfish snacks. Boy, it was like a Shakespearean tragedy.
It actually happened during labor, Your Honor. I was in the hospital sitting across from Kayla. She was pushing this baby out, and I received a text from a guy telling me to leave the hospital because that's his baby and he needs to be there.
What?
I am in labor, like literally in the hospital, and I received a text telling me that the child that I'm waiting to come isn't mine.
Now, Mommy claimed she had the other guy tested, and the result was negative. But was the plaintiff out of the woods yet? Nope, because as it appears, Mommy had cheated on him. Not just this one time. Hold on tight. Benning's heartbreak deepens.
So, Miss Bodine, this other man sent a text to Mr. Benning while he's by your side at the hospital. How do you know this other guy is not the biological father?
Because, Your Honor, I stood up and did the woman and the mother thing I had to do and got the other guy tested.
Oh,
So, cheating was like a buffet for Miss Bodine, apparently. Multiple guys, endless doubts, and every argument a reminder, leading them to this moment. Baby Daddy, though fighting through it all, wanted the babies to be his. It was clear as day.
to say someone is not the father of a child, now that's a little below the belt.
That's not just hurting somebody's feelings,
Yeah.
it's ruining somebody's life.
And I want you to tell her what that feels like so she can understand.
That little girl right there is my mother come back to be with me.
And
When
she
you
looks
tell me
just
that,
like your
when you
mother.
tell me
She's
she's
her
not
twin.
mine, it feels like you're taking my mother away from me again.
2 kids and their paternity were at stake here. And what was Mommy's evidence? Oh, she claimed to be 100% certain that Mr. Manning was her guy. But did he buy those, though? Nope, and he wanted those results. And so, baby Robin's results were about to be out.
Miss Bodine says she is 100% certain. That doesn't make your doubt subside?
I don't trust the thing that really comes out of her mouth. I really don't. And to be honest with you, after all this has happened, depending on the doubts with Robin, I wouldn't know about my son as well.
Despair alert! No amount of goldfish snacks was gonna be enough to erase that sting, but he was still willing to be her dad. Jermaine Jr.'s turn on the spotlight next, and you won't believe, his birth story was also uncannily similar to Robin's. What were the odds of that happening, huh?
We spent 2 years together. You can't change that. You can't take that away.
You said earlier that if Robin was not your biological child, it causes you to doubt whether or not you truly are the biological father of Jermaine Benning Jr. And because of that doubt, the court wants to make sure when you leave here you have the whole truth.
I think I deserve at least that, Your Honor.
Ugh, the poor Mr. Bennings couldn't catch a break, could he? I mean, it was one thing after another with him and Miss Bodine. And boy, did she have some serious explaining to do. She did, with little to no effect though. Guess who sent that text? and why?
Were you there for Jermaine Jr.'s birth?
I was in the hospital. while
Did
he
you
was
sign that birth
I
certificate too?
did sign his birth certificate. He has
And
my
that's
first name.
been
and
submitted to
Jr.
the court. Jermaine Truth Benning Jr. Your concern is that the truth is you are not his biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Time to open the envelope containing the fate of baby Jermaine Jr. I hope the guy at least turns out to be one kid's father, because this would devastate him beyond repair. Let's go ahead and rip that Band-Aid off.
You are not the father.
What the?
Oh, I'm so sorry, Mr. Benning.
Cribs and playpens and toys, and I've done everything that I do. And
Do you know who Jermaine Jr.'s father is?
No, Your Honor.
A secret originally meant to be taken to the grave came out and shattered the lives of 2 daughters and a father. However, the Moores were now here in court to get the truth of that once and for all.
Mr. Moore, you are 100% certain that these are your daughters and the DNA test will prove it. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Willis, you admit you intended to take this secret to your grave and came clean to your daughters only because your sister forced you to admit the truth. Is that
Yes,
true?
Your Honor.
Buckle up, folks. We were about to enter the wild world of the Moore family saga. Now, Mr. Moore was the assumed daddy, but Miss Willis had a skeleton in her closet. And by the looks of it, poor daughters were reminded of this at every family gathering, it seems. Ugh, how cruel.
I was a teenager, about 18. We was at my Auntie Miriam's house, the one that's here today. They was joking around like, you know, he's not your father and da-da-da-da-da, because I went and asked her about it, and she was like, no at first, and then she was like, yeah, you know, he ain't your father.
So, this whole situation was their whole life. And mind you, it was by design. Or so the defendant claimed. However, her sisters messed with it, and her daughters listened to their aunties rather than their mother. Because she knew best, I guess. But now, it was time to confess.
And so you say you would have taken this secret to your grave?
Yes, I would.
That's
They
what
would
you
never-
planned to do?
Stanley was
She
gonna
still would
always
have
be
took
their
it to her
family.
grave, Your Honor, if I wouldn't
gonna be
have
their
forced
family.
it upon her.
Only father he ever knew. They ever knew was him.
That's fair to us?
Not telling them nothing.
That's fair to us,
That's
your
how I
kids?
wanted it.
That's fair to us?
My sister came out and had a part in it, and a hand in it too. Then she got to telling them that they don't look like him.
Now, hold on to those umbilical cords just yet. It seems Mommy conceived soon after the affairs, and the math suggested that possibility as well. But did she tell the plaintiff? Nope. Conveniently, she left that part out and let him believe otherwise.
All the time. All 3 of them.
Why did you tell?
Because we was in a relationship, I didn't know. So he was there for me.
I thought
So
you
through
just
thick
said
and
the time
thin.
didn't add up. You did know.
Thick and thin. From the Hatter to the pregnancy, all through it up to now.
Well, the one-night stand was never told he possibly could have a daughter, and that hurt poor Monica as the jury was still out on this. Moving on, the aunties were told to keep this under wraps. Well, that didn't happen, obviously. And the arguing continues.
He don't know it.
31 years later,
No, he don't know. Never knew.
he don't have the
He
right.
don't even know she exists.
Whew, now that's hurtful.
To hear that, Monica.
Yeah, it's hurtful because if it don't come out the way it should, he not being my father. This man don't even know nothing about me. Who's to say he want me to, want to get to know me?
Well, silver lining, dearest mother agreed to the daughter meeting the mystery man, if the results come out negative, that is. But now the sister of Miss Willis was in court, and pretty soon it was clear there was no love lost between these 2 sisters. It appears the defendant hadn't forgiven her for ruining her design, and she was not happy with her certain decisions.
You were the person that told Monica and Shawanda that Mr. Moore is not their biological father.
They came and asked me, did I know? And I told them, yeah, I know who your daddy is.
You know. Really, you know.
She should have told him a long time ago. I thought it would maybe be her place to tell him.
You're the mouth, it still would be my place.
Miss Monica's result was ready to be delivered, and all eyes were on that envelope. This was going to be a truth that had the very possibility of damaging this family irreversibly. But the truth shall set you free. So, let's hear it.
Mr. Moore, you are not her father.
I'm still the daddy.
Well, your mother did say she was going to introduce you to your biological father.
She would have did it 31 years ago. She knew.
He is still living, right? And you know how to contact him, right?
Oh boy. After those results, the stakes were even higher for the second sister now. Now, Mommy Dear did come out clean with her 5 years ago. It's an interesting approach of telling one sister, but keeping the other in the dark. She claimed to have her reasons, though. But the sister was not buying those by calling her a rolling stone and whatnot. Ouch!
Told her that Stanley wasn't her daddy.
When? How long ago?
5 years ago.
And you're how old, sweetie?
27.
You're 27. What did she say?
She told me he ain't my daddy.
Until you're 22 years old, you grew up with this man as your father. He's there for you, you have a relationship.
Yeah, we have a relationship. It's a great relationship. He's there for me and my kids.
Now, Daddy was on the birth certificate of one, but not on that of Shalonda's. Yup, hers was as empty as it could get, courtesy of the dear old mom. She claimed to be certain she was the child of her husband, and that hurt the poor daughter.
How long did this affair last?
A year or two.
She been knowing him about 9, 10 years. It wasn't nothing that just happened. She been knowing because he was a family friend.
You know him too.
She was messing with him before she started messing with me.
Stanley was a working man. He worked 12 hours a day. She had fun. She ain't never had a job.
He still got a job.
It was the time for the result of the second sister. Her moment of truth was here, and the stakes could not be higher. The Moore family had a ton of issues, but one of them was about to be resolved. Or not. Let's see.
Mr. Moore, you are her father.
Oh my God.
Yeah, your father too.